Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to English class. Today we are going to continue our previous chapter, and the chapter name is In the Kingdom of Fools. In last class, I taught you up to paragraph number 6, and today we are going to continue here from paragraph number 7. Lord, said the helpless merchant, I didn't put up the wall. It's really the fault of the man who built the wall. He didn't build it right. You should punish him. Who is that, my lord? This wall was built in my father's time. I know the man. He is an old man now. He lives nearby. The king sent out messengers to bring the bricklayer who had built the wall. They brought him tied hand and foot. You there? Did you build the man's wall in his father's time? Yes, my lord, I did. What kind of a wall is this that you built? It has fallen on a poor man and killed him. You have murdered him. We have to punish you by death. So finally, who was blamed here? The owner of the house, the merchant, blamed to the mason or the bricklayer. What is the meaning of the bricklayer? Bricklayer, you know very well, it is what the mason. And who is the mason? Mason means what? Rajmistri or the person who used to build the buildings. Alright. So finally he was blamed and the merchant said that because he made very bad wall, very weak wall and that is why it has fallen on a poor man and it killed a person. So I am not the guilty. Please, you should just punish that person only, that nation only, because I am innocent person. This is not my fault. It is the fault of the nation who had made this wall, who has built this wall. So finally, he was brought in the court in the kingdom of the fools. That means in the court of the king, he was brought and he was asked some question. He was asked, so did you build this man's wall in his father's time? And the merchant was very much honest. So he just admitted, he committed, he accepted that, yes, I had made that wall. But it was made in merchant's father's time. All right. And that is why the fact was that the wall was very much weak because it was very much old also. Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded. What is the meaning of pleaded? Pleaded means what? Request. Pleaded means what? A request. Before the king could order the execution, the poor bricklayer pleaded, please listen to me before you give your order. It's true I built this wall and it was no good, but that was because my mind was not on it. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down that street all day with her anklet jingling. I couldn't keep my eyes or my mind on the wall I was building. You must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. So here the difficult word is execution. What is the meaning of execution? Execution means what? The death penalty. All right. So when the merchant came to know that the king is about to give him, the king is going to give him punishment with death penalty, that is Mrityu Dand. So he got frightened, he got terrified, and he just made a request to the king, Please let me speak also. Please do justice, my lord, with me. Please let me speak. Listen what I want to say. Actually, I'm not guilty. So the Mason is telling that he is not guilty. So it is the guilty of, he is declaring in this para why he couldn't make the wall. He accepted that yes, I made that wall, I built that wall. But if the wall is weak, then it is not my mistake at all. The mistake is what? It is mistake of a dancing girl who used to walk here and there, who used to walk up and down continuously by wearing anklet which was jingling. Anklet means what? And jingling, jingling means what? A soft sound created by this anklet. Anklet is what? A jewelry that we wear in our leg. You know what is that? Pile. So he is telling that, like, I couldn't make the strong wall because that time my mind was not focused on my work. I remember very well a dancing girl who was going up and down the street all day with her anklet jingling. So the mason is telling to the king that when he was making the wall, there was one dancing girl, one beautiful young dancing girl, and she used to go up and down that street with all day with her anklet jingling, and that is why he couldn't keep eye on his work. He couldn't focus his mind because his full concentration was there to look that beautiful young girl, and uh, his concentration was also there uh, towards her movements and her anklets jingling. He was listening that melodious sound, what it was created by the beautiful dancing girl's anklets. So chum chum chum. So he became very much busy there in listening that sound, that beautiful melodious sweet sound, and to look what the beautiful dancing girl, and that is why he couldn't make the wall very much strong. So you must get that dancing girl. I know where she lives. And he says that it is not my fault, my lord. It is fault of that dancing girl who just diverted my mind by walking again and again in that street and in that street that day. You are right. The case depends. We must look it into. It is not easy to judge such complicated case. Let's get the dancer wherever she is. So finally the mason, the bricklayer, gave address of that dancing girl, and the king also realized that he must take some more time to clutch to give the punishment to the real culprit, to the real killer. And that is why the case became very much complicated. It became very much difficult to decide who is the actual killer. So finally, the king decided to call dancing girl, and the dancing girl, now an old woman, came trembling to the court because the house was made in his father's time, and that is why now that young, beautiful dancing girl grew into a old lady. So finally, the dancing girl, who was now an old lady, came in the court of the king with trembling hand. "Ye महाराज बताइए, आपने क्यों मुझे याद किया है?" All right. So what happened? She also got frightened why the king has called her in his court. "Did you walk up and down that street many years ago while this poor man was building a wall? Did you see him?" "Yes, my lord. I remember it very well." "So you did walk up and down with your anklet jingling? You were young and you distracted him. So he built a bad wall. It has fallen on a poor burglar and killed him. You have killed the innocent man. You will have to be punished." So finally, what happened? The king asked some question from that dancing girl, and dancing girl accepted that yes, she was moving the entire day. She was doing, she did what? She did up and down the entire day in that street on that day when the machine was making the wall. She accepted. So the king felt that she is the real culprit, she is the killer, and that is why the king decided to give punishment to that dancing girl. It seemed to the king that she is only the real killer of that innocent person. So what happened? She thought up she thought for a minute and said, "My lord, wait. I know why I was walking up and down that street. I had given some gold to the goldsmith to make some jewelries for me. He was Lady Scoundrel. He made so many excuses, said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all the day. That was when the bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damn goldsmith's fault." So when she was asked a question, she just requested to the king, "My lord, please listen to me also. I am not the real killer. I am innocent. Please let me speak also." So she just took 1 minute and she thought for a minute and she just requested to the king why she was moving entire day in that street. She just told to the king that why she was moving here and there, walking up and down in that street. She told to the king that she had given some gold to the goldsmith. You know who is the goldsmith? A person who makes jewelry is known as what? Goldsmith or the sunar. So she is telling that she had given some gold to make the jewelry, and the goldsmith was making many excuses. He used to give her time that I will give you this jewelry after an hour, after half an hour. In this way, he just kept that dancing girl moving again and again to his shop, like the shopkeeper or the goldsmith. It is the goldsmith, it is the fault of that goldsmith, that Sunan, who made her walk again and again. Why? Because the goldsmith was not honest at all. He was a dishonest person. A scoundrel means what? Dishonest person. Because he was dishonest, and that is why he made so many excuses. He used to say that he will give it now and he will give it then. In this way, he couldn't give jewelry on time, in time to that dancing girl. And that is why that dancing girl had to move the entire day in that street. She used to do walk in that street on that day, and that day only the mason, the bricklayer, saw her. And that is why he couldn't make the proper wall, the strong wall. So the dancing girl started requesting to the king that it is not my fault, my lord. It is actually the fault of that goldsmith who made me walk again and again to visit his shop many times. You must punish that goldsmith. Poor thing, she is absolutely right. Finally, the king just believed that it seemed to the king that she is telling the truth. It is not the mistake of that dancing girl. It is really the mistake of goldsmith. Thought the king, weighing the evidence. We have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith where he is hiding at once. Finally, he gave an order to arrest that goldsmith in order to bring him in his court. So the king's bailiff searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in a corner of his shop where when he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. So finally, the goldsmith also came to know about his blame, it was blamed, um, like he had killed an innocent person, and that is why he just decided to save his life, and he just created. At first, he tried to, hide himself in the corner of the shop, But finally, he was caught by the authority or by the officers of the king, and he was brought in the court of the king. My lord, he said, I am a poor goldsmith. It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I couldn't finish make her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are. Further, when the goldsmith was brought in the court of the king, the goldsmith is starting his own story. He told to the king that yes, I accept. He accepted that it is the person, it is the goldsmith. He committed that yes, it is I who made that dancer to come again and again to my shop because because you know because I couldn't finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. So further he is saying that because he got an order by the merchant to make some jewelries because the merchant had wedding coming. There was a wedding ceremony, a marriage ceremony in the merchant's house, and that is why he was completing the work of that merchant, that rich merchant's work, and that is why he couldn't give the jewelries of dancer in time. And that is why he is saying that you know very well how the rich person are impatient. Like the rich person doesn't have patience at all. They want to get any work done immediately at once. So he's telling that it is not my fault. It is the fault of that rich merchant who gave me order, and because of completing his work, I couldn't make the jewelry of that dancing girl. So you must punish that merchant. All right. Who is that? Who is this merchant? Who kept you poor from finishing this poor woman jewelry, made her walk up and down with distracted this bricklayer, which made a mash of his wall, which has now fallen on an innocent man and killed him. Can you name him? And finally, the goldsmith gave also name of that merchant. The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. So it was not any other person, it was the real owner of that house whose wall had fallen and killed an innocent person. So now justice had come full circle through the king back to the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying, I wasn't me. It was not me, my father, who ordered the jewelry. He is dead and I am innocent. So finally, the king became very much furious. So he just again gave an order to arrest him anyhow. And finally, he was brought in the court of the king, and the the owner of the house, that is the merchant, requested the king, let me speak at first, my lord. Please listen to me also. So it was not I who gave the order to make the jewelry, it was my father who made an order, who gave an order to make the jewelry to the goldsmith. So it is not my fault, my lord. I am innocent. Please don't punish me. So I am as innocent as that dancing girl or the goldsmith. So I am also innocent. I am not the guilty person. I am not the killer. So please do justice with me. In this way, we have completed this up to paragraph number 14. So this was all about today's class. In next class, I will teach you from paragraph number 15. Okay, it will take hardly one class or maximum two class to finish this chapter. So thank you very much. Have a nice day for listening me so carefully once again. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.